Hey, what's going on, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, fresh out of bed, feeling pretty good. We'll talk a little bit about Russell Westbrook and why I did not mention very much about him being benched in the fourth quarter of the game that we had a few nights ago. And to be honest with you, the reason why I didn't put too much emphasis on it is because I really can't defend some of the play of Russell Westbrook. And I have gone on this camera several times and said we need to manage his minutes. And if he's not playing well, bench him. Fourth quarter, second quarter, third quarter, whatever. If he ain't looking his best, bench him. I think Russell Westbrook knows how he's looked as a player. And I think in his comments when discussing that benching, I think he alluded to that in his tone in a way. It's like, can one's ego be hurt by being benched when you're that accomplished? And of course, do you think that a player of his caliber should be benched? No. But Russell Westbrook he's walking that thin line of having the right to make that case and then looking at his teammates and seeing that they're the same cachet as him, but further along in their careers and have had to make that sacrifice. That's one aspect of it. It's like, how are you going to bench me when you got Dwight Howard next to you? You got Carmelo Anthony next to you. Like, these guys are already in that space where they've had to transition from supermax player to role player. And they've all gone through this. You know what I mean? They've all gone through this. And that's where you're headed. That's where everybody's headed, except for LeBron James and like KD and players of that caliber, because their game is going to make it so that they're always a focal point no matter where they are in their game. But even a guy like Akeem Olajuwon, plays for the Toronto Raptors at the end of his career and isn't the same guy. You know what I mean? It's just part of the game. So Russell Westbrook's contract is still that of the player that he once was, but we understand once that contract ends, he's going to be where they are. He's going to be playing for smaller contracts, which is fine because that's just the process of the NBA lifestyle. You're not going to be making the same money you made at 37 that you made at 27 because you're not going to be able to put forth that type of upside to represent it. So everybody understands the economics. It was his time to make his money. He made his money. Now it's time for him to transition, but the contract that he was on when he was still that guy is still going on. So now we're just in that weird space. But the reality is Russell Westbrook probably should be a guy that's only getting no more than 27 minutes a game or something like that. Like, we're there. We're actually there. Now, could he tap back into his old self and turn that around some? Yeah, maybe. Well, of course, it's possible when a player's that great. He's still got a lot of pep in his step. We can clearly see he gets off the ground, but we also know that regression is real. That dunk didn't take away from the fact that there have been situations where he barely gets off the ground. The point is, he can't do it every time. And the player who got paid his contract, the player who plays in the fourth quarter without anybody questioning him, could do it every time. You understand what I'm saying? And he knows that. Russell Westbrook knows that. And another thing I would say is, I think Russell Westbrook couldn't really defend his own play because there were certain plays and certain situations where he played in the fourth quarter and just didn't help his team. And when he goes back and looks at the film, especially if everybody's around when looking at that film, what are you gonna do? Say everything's fine? Like that meme where you're sitting down, dude is sitting in the room where everything's on fire and saying everything's fine? No, you're not gonna be able to deny the ineptitude of those particular moments in the fourth quarter. Sitting him is justifiable based on those moments. It just is what it is. He can't come down and jack up a three with 1 minute left, brick it, and then it can't be rebounded and we never get the lead again. He did that in like 2 consecutive games where he did situations where he bricked the dunk. They rebound the ball and we never got the lead again down the stretch of the game. I mean, it's just been situations of ball fumbles off his foot. At the end of the day, those were mistakes that he was a part of that cost us opportunities to win basketball games. Now, those who know basketball know those weren't the reasons you lost. But if you have an opportunity to win, and the guy you have on the floor is squandering that opportunity down the stretch of the basketball game, you have to make the decision to at least question whether or not it makes sense to put him in a basketball game down the stretch of it. So, ain't going to be no questioning that here. Ain't going to be no advocating for that to change. I can't justify it. Not with what I've seen. Now, however, did I think he should have been benched in the game that he was playing in? I didn't. I didn't think he was playing that bad in that game. I really didn't. I thought that should have been Carmelo Anthony. That should have been Trevor Ariza. Now, Carmelo Anthony bounced back and played a great game in the last game. We couldn't win without him. So, every game's different. Look at a guy like Cole Anthony for the Orlando Magic. He scored like 4 points in the last game. I think he's going to score 4 points in the next game? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. And it just is what it is. Every game is different. And at the end of the day, sometimes guys have bad games or bad stretches, horrible slumps. You know what I mean? And Russell, or just regression that makes it so that they're never the same again. Whatever the case may be, you can't just go around guessing and leave a guy on the floor to suffer and to hurt your team. You can't. That's not how basketball should be managed. You have to use who's playing well and match up against your opponent. So all in all, I think Russell Westbrook's going to have opportunities to close games, meaningful games if we make the playoffs. I think that will be there for him, but the option to bench him will always be in our minds. And if he messes up, you won't see him, and that's okay. You know, just like if DJ wouldn't be benched if this were 2016 or something like 2015 when they were rolling. That would never happen. DJ would be on the floor. He'd be a guy you pay $150 million to block a bunch of shots, or rebound the ball, and jump out of the gym. All right, but as he's regressed, we're at a place now where we're saying we don't even want him on the team. That doesn't take away from who he was. That doesn't mean that he didn't earn his money. That didn't mean he didn't put forth great efforts for the Clippers. Hell no. He was who he was, and now we're at where we're at, and we got to move that way. So this don't take nothing away from Russell Westbrook. I don't really believe that this year has taken anything away from Russell Westbrook's legend. He's solidified. What do you need to see? Go on YouTube and watch the highlights. You can watch 13 years of highlights of Russell Westbrook. You'll be sitting here for 3 hours watching him do amazing stuff. It's all there. If you want to just zero in on who he is today and kill him historically for it, you're the idiot, not him. Not in that case. You're the idiot. So it's just about where he's at right now. And honestly, that's fine. He's where he's at. You know, the problem is the contract, and the problem is what the Lakers need. That's the issue. And that's why I'll segue into why I'm still offended by the Rockets' offer. Because the Rockets are treating this like we are stupid enough to not understand what it is I just explained for the last 7 minutes. That's how they're treating us. Telling us that we need to take a player that's less healthy, less accomplished, right? And then make it sweet for them. I'm like, you know, Rob Pelinka was he was literally a agent. One of the great agents, even though he made a lot of enemies. One of the great agents in this league for many years. To insult his intelligence and to insult Jeannie Buss and to insult LeBron James like that, I really, really, really want to take that out on their team. Like, if I were a player and I was capable of doing great things, I'm dropping my best line on them next time I see them. I'm serious. I've never been more serious. And I don't think I've ever been more offended by a trade offer. Like, are you guys serious? So, no, to bring it back around to what we were talking about, we are not going to play Russell Westbrook like he's some type of problem that we must get rid of, aside from the fact that that contract is a problem that we must get rid of. The reality is the man is still putting up triple-double numbers. The Rockets would be blessed to have players that put up his production right now. Let's just be real. Man gave us, what, 18 points, 8 assists last? No, those are good numbers for average people. The problem with Russell Westbrook is his weaknesses and how it affects this roster. This roster. You put Russell Westbrook in a lineup that allows him to be himself and allows him the opportunity to have his weaknesses masked, and there are ways to do that depending on how you build the roster, then he's going to flourish just like he has in a lot of situations where he succeeded. John Wall, I actually don't think bad of John Wall in any way. I would love to acquire John Wall for the right price. I think he would be an addition to our team, not a subtraction in any way. This is not a knock on John Wall. This is not even talking about John Wall. It's talking about what has happened with John Wall's health. What his contract is on top of that health. How the process is going for the Rockets in terms of how they've handled his contract, for which they didn't even want to put him on the floor because they were so concerned about him getting hurt. Now they want to make us sweeten the deal for them. Ain't nothing but an insult. You're not negotiating. You're giving me the finger. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't know why. I don't know. What do we do to you? Why would you play us like that? You know? So as far as I'm concerned, the Rockets, we got to take that out on y'all. I don't know how the team feels, but, you know, if I'm LeBron James, they getting 50. They're getting 50. I'm sorry, KPJ, I'm dunking on you, bro. I'm dunking on you. Why? Because of the GM over there. Because of what Tillman Fertitta and them trying to do to us. John Wall contract and give us some picks and we be cool. No, you give us picks. We got the healthier player. We got the more established player. We got a guy who is still considered a player that can drop a triple-double any and every night. John Wall is not that. He's a big-time assist guy. And he's a question mark in terms of what it is that he's going to give you because of his injury history. And even if you expect him to be exactly who he was a guy who ended up getting hurt and stayed out for 3 years. So I'm trying to tell you that the Rockets should be giving us picks in that situation. And I'm gonna harp on that. I probably still ain't done talking about that. So anyway, yeah. Russell Westbrook is an issue as it pertains to several different things. He doesn't play defense. That doesn't help us. I get it. Our offense is trash, so a lot of times it leaves him in situations where he has nowhere to go. And that's a very important part. And then, you know, on top of that, of course, his cap, what he represents on the cap, and how hard it is to move over, as we talk about every day. So if he were on a contract that would say $8 million or something like that, or had our mid-level exception, it's a great contract with a player that you're going to have to give me a lot to get from me because of what he's capable of doing and what that contract would be worth. So no, Rockets, go to hell, man. I can't say it enough. I really can't. And as far as everything else, man, I would rather hold on to Russell Westbrook than to take back a worse deal, man. I really would. The more I think about it, the more I realize that Russell Westbrook is, if nothing else, is somebody you can call his number. He's going to be ready. When have you ever seen Russell Westbrook out of shape? Never. You have never seen Russell Westbrook out of shape. You know what I mean? And the fact of the matter is, if we get the right offense down here, we get him some complimentary defenders, we maneuver our cap a little bit to make our team better, and he can be a player that doesn't hurt our team. And that's what it really comes down to. He can be a player that doesn't hurt our team. It's not a situation where bringing in John Wall for Russell Westbrook and giving away the 2027 pick or a second-round pick or whatever they want is going to make us what we need to be. It does nothing for us. Especially if you expect that John Wall is going to be hurt, which is the only logical thing to think based on the history. So no, I'm not just rushing to get rid of Russell Westbrook. Now, if you can get me the Cleveland Cavalier package, I look at that as addition because it gives us a possibility of flexibility by being able to flip whatever it is that we get back later on. As to which we will still have trouble getting rid of Russell Westbrook's contracts based on its price and its production. So that's the only reason why I'm looking to move Russell Westbrook, is so that I can create some flexibility either by getting cap space or getting assets. If the Rockets aren't offering that and they just want to swap contracts, then we can assess swapping contracts. But once you, the Rockets, with the lesser of the two, starts talking about sweetening the deal, that's when we start having conversations about being disrespectful. Simple as that. So that's what it is for me. Just want to come here and let you know how I feel about Russell Westbrook and further complain about how utterly disrespectful that trade offer actually felt to me as a fan. And just to encourage everybody to just chill out, because if we don't make a trade for Russell Westbrook, it's not like we don't see that part coming. We certainly should, because it ain't going to be easy to get rid of this thing. You can clearly see what the overall sentiment is. People are laughing at us. That's essentially what Tillman Fertitta and those idiots over there in Houston are doing. They're laughing at us. And that's what this is. And that's why I'm taking it this way, because I know that energy when I see it. They're laughing at us. So, yeah, that's what I got. I was going to give the camera the finger, but I think it's a little too far. My name is BDL44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.